a wonderful morning to you, Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us on News Talk. Especially, this is where we bring to you newspaper review, but definitely we talk you into the news. Peradventure, you may have had one or two things, but definitely we talk you into the news just for you to have an idea of what is happening all around you in a more relaxed way. Anyway, my name is Iyitayo Folorenshaw. I want to say welcome on board. Well, in Nigeria today, one of the prominent issues we are having in the country is the scarcity of dollars. As we are having, matters arising in the business world today. Businesses are crumbling, and a lot of things are really happening. Many medium scale businesses are actually shutting down. Uh, Cost of living and every other thing, is actually on the high side. Why? Because the dollar scarcity is eating hard on everybody, and that actually is striking fears into the hearts of most Nigerians, especially those who are into businesses. And this is where we're going to start talking about. We're going to start a talk from this today. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria, in order to mitigate the effects of dollar scarcity on the economy, has actually asked banks to sell excess dollars in 24 hours. And we're going to look at the lead to that story for us to have an idea of what precisely is happening right there. So, it is in the midst of its fresh moves to stabilize the nation's volatile exchange rate. The Central Bank of Nigeria saw that deposit money banks to sell their excess dollar stock latest February 1st, 2024. What this means is that why most of the goods and services we have in Nigeria are actually going up is because they are dollar driven. Talking about oil and gas sector, it is dollar driven. When you talk about most of the goods we import into the country, they are dollar driven, and this is why things are getting more and more costly in the country as much as we have more dollar scarcities in the country today. As of today, the prices of dollar, Great Britain pounds have actually been hitting the roof, really. Like, do you know how much it is in the open market? What a pound, a Great Britain pound, costs to Nigeria today? It is extremely expensive. The exchange rate is something else at the moment. Now about the US dollars also, the exchange rate is something else at the moment. Alright, so the Central Bank of Nigeria is actually trying to mitigate the effects of all this by ordering commercial banks, money deposit banks to bring out all the dollars they have and start selling to people. In the first instance, why would bank deny, its customers the dollar supply is another question entirely. Some might say that it is actually to control inflation or the money in circulation or something like that. We don't spend dollars in Nigeria. Let me say officially, we don't spend dollars. All right, but then, is this true? Is this what is going on? A lot of businesses in Nigeria are dollarized. Well, in such that if you don't have dollars, you can't transact in some places. So it is just like that in Nigeria. Meanwhile, in Abuja, something has actually come up, and that is talking about the Bureau de Change, and this is in the midst of the foreign exchange crisis in Nigeria. So Bureau de Change operators have actually closed down indefinitely in Abuja over FX scarcity. That's forex scarcity in Nigeria. They're going to start the closure of their shops and the closure of their businesses as from today, 1st of February 2024. And the chairman of that BDC operators in Abuja, that's the person of Abdullahi Dawaran, disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday. He said that yesterday He stressed that the scarcity of dollars was responsible for their decision to shut down. Not only Bureau de Change operators in Nigeria are actually shutting down, a lot of businesses are actually shutting down too. At the moment, everything is just going up, and we don't know how to control that. The president has not said anything, and the CBN has only said that banks should bring out all the dollars they have and start selling to people so that there could be more dollars in circulation instead of the scarcity which we have right now. Meanwhile, away from the economy, in Benue State, we have a particular tribe called Agatu, and right there, 15 people have been killed, in that area, and they were being murdered by suspected herdsmen in that particular state, in Benue State. Benue State has been in the forefront of all these attacks in the recent time, but in no fewer than 15 persons have been killed after suspected herders attacked the Bojo community in the Agatu local government area of Benue State. Remember what that particular state was actually going through during the last administration. They suffered in the hands of herdsmen. Now, why the federal government has decided not to label all these herdsmen terrorists in Nigeria, because the former president did not do that despite all the public outcries to tag all these herdsmen, killer herdsmen, terrorists in Nigeria. So, according to eyewitnesses, many people are still missing in that state, and search parties are actively combing the bushes for any remaining survivors. Remember what happened in Plateau State in the recent time, where over 140 people were murdered overnight by suspected herdsmen. How about kidnapping cases in Nigeria? Ransom payment. The kidnapping industry is now booming at the moment. People cannot travel here and there. Everyone is living in fear. Where is Mr. President, who has promised to secure lives and properties of most Nigerians? That is the question of the day. Anyway, we'll move away from that to look at some other things which we'll be talking about today. Now, also in Katsina State, something actually happened there. Tension is building up in that state following a social media post deemed offensive by some residents. The Facebook post, allegedly written by a Christian indigent from the state, one Mani Abubakar, sparked anger and led to the destruction of his house and car at Babaruga after he escaped last Tuesday night. Abubakar's current whereabouts remain unknown, and that story is saying that some extremists actually went, after that man because he posted something on Facebook and burnt down his house and stuff. So the post was said to have contained derogatory comments about Islam, prompting the mob's reaction. Well, let's see how that is going to be. But we have some other stories to bring to you today. You just have to stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at some other stories still trending. We will talk you into them so that you can have an idea of what is happening in a more enjoyable way. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Wherever, whenever there is a story, that is where you find us. Where the gist is developing, that is where we cast our net. Where there is a drama, you can trust us to act it out. And where there is news, reporting is our delight. Even on the go, we are ready to track it. At Immaculate Television, we bring you the latest, hottest, and spot on news as it make the rounds all over the world. Reporting from the nooks and crannies of both.
Alright, you welcome back. It's still News Talk on ITVS, where we review most of the pertinent news headlines on this particular session in most of our dailies in Nigeria. Now, in the recent time, just few days back, a number of 5 pupils were kidnapped in Ekiti State, and 4 other members of staff were actually kidnapped in a public school, a Christian school, and the proprietor of the Apostolic Faith Group of Schools in Ekiti, that's the person of Gabriel Adesoya, on Wednesday, yesterday now, lamented that kidnapped pupils and staff members of the school were being subjected to a series of maltreatment by their abductors. How do you feel as a parent? How do you feel as a guardian when pupils, they are not even adults, they're not teens, they're just pupils who were being flogged and maltreated by abductors? Why? Because they want to force their parents, their guardians, to go bring ransoms so that for the release of all these children. Now, the proprietor spoke on Wednesday, and the kidnappers actually called the parents. The children were flogged and heard crying, in the background. As they were calling their parents, they were flogging the pupils, they were flogging the children so that their cries will be on the phone. This is unacceptable in Nigeria. It is something that is calling for attention. It's now becoming as if everyone is on its own. No one is coming to help. But we don't want to agree to that, because we have a government, and the government has to live up to its responsibility. Now, it added that the kidnappers insisted on the 100 million naira ransom they demanded on Tuesday, and threatened that they would take drastic actions against the school children and the workers who were abducted on Monday. Now, gunmen operating on the Emurekiti Poro Ekiti Road attacked a bus conveying over 25 pupils of the school home after closing hours. Should we say that our children should not go to school again? Security is being compromised, and insecurity is taking over, striking fears into the hearts of every Nigerian at the moment. Those who are outside the country cannot come in. Things are getting more and more serious at the moment. Well, that is another one. So apart from that one, you still remember what actually happened in Oyo State? That was some weeks back now, in which there was an explosive boom in the state, in which a lot of houses were destroyed as a result of explosives stored into a particular house by an identified miner in Bojija, in Ibadan. Now, the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on Wednesday signed into law Executive Order 001/2024 on the handling and storage of harmful substances in the state. The governor is taking drastic steps at the moment to mitigate the recurrence of something like that, and I think it's a very good move at the moment. So in a section of the order, the governor gave 72 hours ultimatum to anyone in the state in possession of any kind of explosives to declare them, which is a good step in the right direction. So let's keep a tab on that, and let's see what precisely is going to happen. And federal government to save 500 million naira annually from FAAN relocation, says Kayamo. What else is happening here? A lot of things really happening at the moment. Well, federal government, Lagos partner to develop agri sector. More and more will still be coming your way in our subsequent news bulletin for the day. But don't worry over banks' excessive forex exposure. That's coming from CBN also. A lot of news coming out today has to do with forex crisis, kidnapping, security cases, and what we also have in the business world also. And Abuja BDC operators shut down operations over dollar scarcity. We brought that to you earlier on this show. Then we have the Swan shareholders excited as $10 becomes uh, First Bank of Nigeria Holdings chair. That one is also there, so you may want to track some of these things. Now, an ex-defense minister is saying that Nigeria is too complex for central policing. What is your thought about some of these things, especially when we talk about communal policing, state policing? You know, Nigerians have been agitating for that in order to tackle the rising cases of insecurity in the country. But it seems that the federal government is not looking in that direction at the same time. Then a lot of people have actually been calling for restructuring also, but then the federal government is not yet doing anything about that at the moment. So, but let's see what we'll be getting, right from there. More will still be coming your way today as we look at more of some of these issues. The issue of CBN clamping down on banks, pegs trade, assets in forex, that one seems to cut across most of the dailies, that we have in the dailies today. Electricity consumers increased to 11.71 million in Nigeria the third quarter of 2023. That's from a research. An Ekiti school pupils kidnap. Ondo Amotekun deploys 100 personnel. But then this is intelligence gathering. Should it be in the open space? Food security drives focuses on gender inclusion. Food prices are getting to the rooftop in Nigeria. At the same time, people no longer cannot afford to buy food or eat 3 square of meals per day. It is terrible at the moment, Mr. President. It is terrible. Things are getting out of hands. People can no longer live comfortably. Civil servants cannot go to their workplaces. There is no money to get fuel prices are something that people cannot go just to get. You want to buy a liter of petrol, it is extremely expensive at the moment. Transport fare, every other thing is out of the common man in Nigeria. What we urge the federal government to rise up to its responsibility to secure lives and property and to make the economy stable for people. I'm so sure that Nigerians do not really want much. They just want affordability. That's just it. So we'll see you in our subsequent news bulletin for today. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Itayo Folorunsho. Have a wonderful time to yourself.